Well, hello again, folks. The weather is a little on the chilly side. Yesterday was pretty cold. I'll be down here for another full day today and then partial day tomorrow. And we'll see if we can start to get stage one wrapped up. All right, so yesterday we had the big surprise that this wall actually passed inspection. This first floor structure. I was really concerned about the fact that the drawings had a board underneath this beam and kind of like a bottom plate for the beam itself. And the inspector was like, no, you don't need that. And then I was also concerned that I hadn't put a PSL in here according to what the drawings say should be there. Basically, the drawing said there should be a PSL that's 3.5 by 5.25, I think. The original engineer thought that this would be a 2x4 wall instead of a 2x6. So I had framed this up as basically four 2x6s. This last left board is actually a 2x8 to support the Audi sliding glass door, but this is a 4 times 2x6 post, and the inspector was like, well, what you've got here is over what in terms of load carrying what the engineer was saying for just a single PSL that's 3.5 inches wide, so or deep. Plus I've got all the strapping on here and the strapping there and there as called out by the drawings. So the inspector was like, you're fine. So he passed me for this first floor outer wall, which I wasn't expecting. I mean, I expected it would pass eventually, but not yesterday. So that's cool. So today I'm going to be putting up, and yesterday I put up all these hangers. I don't have the lumber yet. I just got back from the lumber yard ordering basically the rest of the wood I need to finish stage one plus some more plywood. And so I finished putting up this last joist. I put up those hangers, and then I put up this joist here, and then I had to do some mucking around to shorten some of these joists so that I could bring that wall more plumb. I had made a mistake and it got out of plumb. So these are all nailed now. So that structure is all done. Today, I'm going to be focusing on this band board and then the hangers that are going to support the two ledger boards that are on the outside of that band board, on the outside of the sheathing, that will support the joists that are running toward the river for that outer raised platform deck. So that's what I'm going to do today. And then after I finish that, I'll tackle starting to empty the upstairs, throwing stuff down this hole, and starting to demo the inside of that river room up there, and preparing for beginning stage 2, which is tearing off all of this gable and extending the temporary roof toward the street. Let's see how far we get. All right, so the line that I just drew, which is this guy right here, this is 3/4 of an inch from the outside of the framing. This line is old, so ignore that. This line represents the inside face of the ledger board, the double ledger boards that'll be held by this hanger So this hanger goes something like that to hold 2x8 pressure treated ledger board that the deck joists are going to join on a 16-inch center. And then this guy is going to hold the band board so that the outside of the band board is even with this. So on top of this goes the 1/2 inch sheathing. There'll be a 1/4 inch gap because that's a 3/4 inch space. So 1/2 inch gap or 1/4 inch gap that I can shove flashing down. And then the band board, then the ledger boards. So I'm going to have to, when I secure this, I'm using these massive 1/4 inch Simpson screws to anchor this into the PSL. So I'm going to have to account for this flange when I mess with the end of the band board, so that the band board will accommodate this flange here that's in its way. We get done structurally today was putting in the band board behind these two 2x8s here, and the hangers, and of course I did all the other hangers and joists inside yesterday. So I'm going to call it a day today, or at least as far as structure. I'll try to demolish some of the bedroom upstairs, but so we've got a quarter of an inch gap here that I can shove, you know, the vapor barrier stuff and sheathing, metal sheathing. Now, keep in mind, we're going to have 2 inches of rigid insulation plus 3/4 of an inch for, you know, the rain screen stuff. So that'll come out 2 3/4. So that's almost out to here. And then, you know, we'll have trim and then siding. So this will be concealed completely. Part of this will be concealed. And we'll have sheathing coming down down the wall and over this set of 2x here, and down and all the way down below here. So this will be well protected from rain. and so water won't get in. Anyway, all right, folks, we're up here. This is what you saw previously in the video was last week, and not much was happening. That was kind of a tough week for me mentally. It's cold. Didn't have enough lumber to completely finish stage one, so I got some stuff done, but this week should be better. We've got good weather for the next 3 days, I think. No rain. And while I'm waiting for lumber to be delivered tomorrow, I'm going to be tearing apart, demoing all this upstairs, or at least as much as I feel like it or can. Upstairs, small attic living area. The reason I'm going to demo this now is because this room back here, we used to call it the river room. That's the first roof that I want to rip off. The first of the gabled roof, the main house gabled roof that I want to rip off, coming from that end all the way to basically, well, until this window right here. Sorry, it's hard for me to orient myself. So this window represents the boundary of the downstairs. Well, actually, it's the front face of the return for the air conditioner on the street side. So it's an air conditioner boundary, and it's far along on the downriver side of the house, so that I could demo the rest of the wall along the river bedroom and put the temporary roof up, without also having to demo this side of the house. So anyway, minor issue. Let's get cracking. All right, so this is how the river room was insulated. So you see there was zero insulation on this wall right here. There was half an inch, I guess, of this particle board. And then that's this stuff here. And then the original finish in the room was this veneer board. So this is a particle board with a sandwich of mahogany veneer. So there's veneer there. There's good veneer there. Let's see if I can get a better picture of that. There you go. So this was actually pretty nice looking mahogany. And then along the base was mahogany trim, and all the vertical strips that went down the channel between these pieces of wood. So this is a channel. So basically you're forming about 8-inch wide panels of mahogany, and then you'd put a mahogany strip down this channel to cover the joint. And then ideally you'd have a mahogany base trim and a mahogany top trim going across the top. And you would have a mahogany paneled room, which is pretty crazy. Now this is obviously original, 1960s, 1970s, early 70s. And so it's kind of wacky. So on this side, sorry the focus is all jacked up. On this side, there's no apparent blown insulation. They put down some insulation in the ceiling, and then and along that wall there. But there's nothing along this wall. And I'm going to feel if there's anything up here. Yes, there's insulation up here in the ceiling, but of course this is just a 2x6. And then over here, all they had was blown insulation in those bays. I can get a light. So that's the extent of the insulation over the living area, over the main living area. And of course, the ductwork is horrid. So these lines go a long way toward the street, down under between the joists, and then back up to the unit, which is on the other side. In that little doorway is the AC unit. So this actually does have a trunk, but it had to make a U-turn out of the AC unit because the AC unit's blowing that way. So an incredibly inefficient system. Ours will be more efficient for two reasons. I'm going to be using 14x6 rigid, smooth ductwork in the joists going horizontally across the house. And our ductwork is going to be within conditioned space, as well as the air handler. So just those two things alone will make our new system more efficient than this. Anyway, back to work. All right, got the temporary deck set up. We've got, it's about 4 feet 6 inches from the house side of the house side ledger board, and this I guess you'd call that a rim joist. I don't know. And then the outer board is about 1.25 inches from the other two, and that's because that's to accommodate the flange of the hanger. So yeah, this will be temporary. I just threw some boards up there so I can sit up there with the chair, enjoy the view when I take a rest. And so now I can do the inside. So I can hang these little guys here. I've started demoing up there, as you saw before. And the reason I'm doing wood stuff is because I got lumber. So that let me finish this guy up here. And I got some more 20-foot 2x8s. I'm going to use 2 of them to make some kind of a stairway to go up to this deck. And we can use that for getting material up there. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. All right. I'm sitting here on top of the cantilevered deck. I've got some temporary crappy boards on here that are, sheathing from the house. And I got a little, a mini rope railing, just I can catch my balance or whatever. But yeah, so here's the view from the bedroom deck. Not too shabby. We'll be able to see if you come up to the railing and look through that that other railing over there. That's about where the fireworks from Colonial Beach come up. Now, obviously, the tree's in the way, but in 4th of July, all along the shore, on the other side of the river, there will be fireworks going off. You can see literally 20 or 30 displays going off on 4th of July. It's pretty cool. Anyway, looking forward to having a finished house. All right, folks, this declares stage 1 done. So I got all this subfloor put up. It is resting. Well, there's a few screws holding it down, but basically, this house is 32 feet wide. So 8 4-foot wide plywood sheets are enough to cover this part of the floor. So what I've done is, instead of laying down the subfloor flat, each pair is in a V. So this joint right there is the base of a V, and there's a 2x4 that's raising the far side of that panel above the V, and then there's another piece of wood raising the left edge of that panel even higher. So, and then there's a little piece of wood under the far end of the V there on the left. So, and then it's covered with plastic. So because I've got the temporary roof and intermediate supports holding up that temporary roof that are screwed to or resting on this plywood, this Advantech. It's not plywood, it's a fancy high-end OSB subflooring. It's the only stuff that that my lumber supplier carries normally. So they don't have regular plywood, whereas the other place I was going to did. Anyway, so this stuff here tolerates being rained on and snowed on. And you might think, well, then why can't you just put this down and tape up the seams, and then you've got a waterproof surface? Well, number one, that surface is flat, and the water can run any direction off and onto my floor with insulation under it. And yeah, so and I haven't prepared the tops of the joists for the subfloor yet. I may have to do some power planing of some of the joists to get them level, or even with these beams here, like this here. Anyway, I want to give the wood a chance to dry out a little more before I worry about the level of the top of the joist. So, so there's 4 bays basically, 4 pairs of subfloor with plastic on it that's 8 to 9 feet wide, and then the plastic droops. It's 10-foot wide plastic, so it droops over the edge and over top of my temporary house wrap. So yeah, there's lots of protections here trying to keep the rain out. It's been a challenge. I'm pretty exhausted, but what this does is it completes stage 1. Stage 1 is basically the steel beam and everything toward the river of it for the first floor and supporting the second floor. So anyway, that's kind of a big milestone. Where this week is the 1-year anniversary of me being retired and then starting to tear apart the chimney. So yeah, we're 1 year in. I think certainly the hardest engineering stuff is done. And now it's just a matter of having a stretch of good days that I can start ripping off roof. So that's really my holdup now, is just having a good stretch of weather. So anyway, that's it for this last 2 weeks, and we'll catch you later. Cheers.